In 2015, a developed European country came dangerously close to collapsing completely. Banks shut down, ATM withdrawals were limited, and even pension payments were suspended. And this happened in Greece, the birthplace of democracy, philosophy, and money. If you're wondering, how is that possible? An EU member using the euro, a modern nation, how can it end up on the edge of bankruptcy? Well, this is exactly where the story begins. And this isn't just about Greece. The country you live in today, even your personal life, can fall into the same cycle. Because what happened shows us a harsh truth. When money runs out, even the most advanced nations lose the ability to make their own decisions. Where did it all start? When Greece adopted the euro in 2001, everyone thought, all right, things are finally going to go smoothly. Because using the euro meant low interest rates, plenty of credit, easy borrowing. And since Greece had spent years borrowing at high costs, it took full advantage of this opportunity. Infrastructure improved, roads, airports, modernization. But at the same time, bloated government employment, inefficient taxation, widespread corruption grew just as fast. Government revenue didn't rise, but spending did. In short, debt snowballed. Then came the 2008 crisis. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, the entire world shook. Investors suddenly started asking, who can actually pay their debts? And Greece's numbers exploded overnight. Because it turned out the country had been hiding its real deficit for years. Forget what was written on paper. The actual deficit was around 15% of GDP, a serious violation of Eurozone rules. The result? Greece could no longer borrow, interest rates skyrocketed, market confidence completely disappeared. And in 2010, the country was forced to ask for a bailout. Along with it came a very painful prescription. Bailout equals austerity, and not the mild kind. Taxes were raised, salaries were cut, pensions became harder to obtain, government spending was strictly reduced. The goal was to reduce the deficit. But in reality, the economy shrank even more. As the economy contracted, the debt-to-GDP ratio worsened. It looked like the debt was growing even faster. Unemployment hit 27%. Youth unemployment reached 60%. The country could barely breathe. In 2012, a second bailout arrived. But even that wasn't enough. One of the largest debt write-downs in history was forced onto private investors, and still the debt remained huge. Years passed, and every new bailout came with even stricter austerity measures. In 2015, the people said no, but the Syriza government held a referendum. The public voted no, these conditions are too harsh. Yet only days later, the government had to accept an even harsher agreement, because the alternative was leaving the euro, returning to the drachma full default. And that would have been catastrophic in the short term. Greece lost its economic independence. The Troika now decided the country's budget, taxes, and spending. This wasn't the first time such a thing happened. History is full of similar cases. When the Ottoman Empire couldn't pay its debts, the Ottoman Public Debt Administration was established. Foreign creditors took control of major state revenues. Egypt went through the same story, meaning, even if the flag is yours, if the money isn't, the power isn't either. That's exactly what Greece experienced in the 2010s. So what about today? Greece's debt is still very high. The economy has stabilized, but it's not what it used to be. An entire decade was lost. And this story is now a warning for other countries. Today, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Argentina are all trapped in similar cycles. Even advanced economies are at risk. Italy's debt is dangerously high. Japan's debt is over 250% of GDP. The U.S. debt has surpassed $34 trillion. Big economies can delay the fall, but none are immune. The real lesson? The problem isn't debt itself, it's the loss of flexibility. If you can't print your own money, if you can't adjust your currency, if you depend on external financing, then you're not truly in control. This applies to nations and to individuals. Personal lesson. Debt limits freedom. It reduces your choices. It ties you to someone else's conditions, whether it's a household budget or a national budget. The more debt you carry, the less control you have. Final words. What happened in Greece wasn't the fall of walls or cities, but it was the surrender of economic sovereignty. And it happened right in the middle of the modern world. History doesn't repeat, but it sends signals. If a country can collapse in today's world, it shows just how fragile financial freedom really is. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History will keep surprising you.